welcome back to Bread and Butter. We were serving up the basics for Hearthstone improvement. This is episode 132, and as always, I am joined by joined. I am joined by Pylet. Pylet, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing fast. I can't. Hold on, I got to do a reset because I can't talk today. It's we've had technical issues today, and we just worked through them. But we have on one of our favorite returning guests, Zeddy. Zeddy, how are you today?
I'm doing quite well. Thank you very much for having me again.
Oh, we love having you. Thank you for coming back on. And what have you been doing inside Hearthstone?
I have been on an arena grind. I actually haven't even hit Legend and Standard Wild yet this season. I've been the Underground Arena was on the quest for the crowd's favor, which took way too long to get, and I've only gotten it one time, but we've been working on that, and yeah, that's about it. I'm not in love with the meta game, so I've been enjoying Arena at least.
And I'm sure we'll be talking about that in a little bit later. But you did spend a lot of time on the meta game yesterday. You had a pretty long stream.
Yeah, the summer playoffs was yesterday, so I got to see a lot of Fire Rock Rogue and some other decks. It's a lot of Rogue, and without this patch, it's probably going to be even more Rogues. So we'll see.
Well, on the bright side, it's not Amiria Mirrors. What was that lady's name? The librarian there, the specialist warrior.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the Elysiana.
Elysiana.
Yeah. Elysiana. Yeah, those were the worst.
Yeah.
How about yourself, Pylet? What have you been up to in Hearthstone?
I finished my Legend climb. I was talking to Tito last week. I was around D3. I'm like, I feel like I've been playing really well this month. I'm like, this has been a really smooth climb. I've played a bunch of different decks. So I happen to look at my stats. I'm like, oh, I am winning quite a bit. I finished the Legend climb on a 78% win rate. I went 38 and 11 overall. I'm like, hey, I feel good about this. I'm like, I do remember how to play Hearthstone after not playing as much the past couple months. It hasn't translated as well once I hit Legend. I had a couple of rough, play sessions of some bad matchups, but I mainly did that with the quote unquote big spell mage. Burn big spell mage, aggro big spell mage, I called it yesterday because I won my THL match on turn 5 with a deck called Big Spell Mage. And then I've been playing the Fire Rack Rogue. Just picked that up and been playing that again. Been enjoying that deck. I'm sure as it gets more popular, it'll be more targeted, and I'll kind of drift away from it because I don't like the target on my back. But that's what I've been enjoying so far.
Between me starting to play Control and you playing decks like Fire Rack Rogue, I think we're becoming everything we hate.
I normally enjoy those types of rogue decks. So like I enjoyed Miracle Rogue, like Baron's Miracle Rogue with Tenwu and Alex. I did enjoy that deck and all the discounts and stuff. So Garrote I didn't play. That deck was way above my head. I wasn't touching that one.
And speaking of above my head, I've been playing a lot of Quest Mage, which isn't quite a top tier deck. But I've been playing a language hacker version of it, which is more minion based. So it's not the spell based, but it's got the potential. It's hard. It's not an easy deck to play. It's fun. I brought it to THL this week and lost 0-3 with some really tough games. I thought so. I'm looking forward to kind of doing the review of those. But that's why I'm still D5. Well, actually, I'm D3 I think now because before the show I was playing Cliffhanger. Demon Hunter, and having some success with that, and it's been a lot of fun rolling over what's ever there. I saw a weird druid out there. It was like a egg druid or a seed druid that has like that never-ending card that you kill it and it becomes an 0/1 and it becomes a 5/1 or 1/5 5/1 5/1, and it was weird. I beat it pretty easily, but I was kind of like, it was nice to see something different on the ladder. And that's what happens when you're at D5 is you see a lot of weird stuff. Zeddy, how about outside the game? What have you been up to?
Not a ton. I've been still building Lego stuff and things like that. But I've been really enjoying another game on the Switch too. Donkey Kong Bonanza. I played that like crazy. I actually 100%ed it, and I'm still playing because I just want to keep smashing stuff, and I'm really enjoying that. It's just like the dopamine you get and the therapeutic feeling of just beating the crap and destroying things all the time is just addictive and just feels good. Feels good after a lot of Hearthstone or something. Just wind down with getting some bananas. So I've been enjoying that.
it's a great just like turn your brain off and smash stuff game.
Exactly.
It's fantastic. I've really enjoyed that game. I haven't. I need to go back to it to work on the 100% still.
Yeah, it's so good.
Now, Zeddy, on the Lego front, have you done the Transformer ones yet that were coming out?
I don't have any of the Transformer ones, but there's like the wave. I can't remember. It's a sound wave one or something. It's called
Soundwave. Yeah.
I actually didn't grow up watching Transformers at all, but it's just a rad looking set. It's definitely it's on my wish list, and I wouldn't mind getting that. And like, there is an Optimus Prime set that just do look cool. So maybe someday, if it goes on sale, I'm definitely getting them. So I'm just waiting for it to go on sale.
Those are the ones that like I see all kinds of sets, and I'd like to get that. I could do. Everyone wants to do a Millennium Falcon or a Star Destroyer or whatever like that, and eventually I'll get around to it when I have a little bit more, what do you call it, flexible cash.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really, really tempted to get one of the Transformer ones because I did grow up watching Transformers, and I'm not talking about the horrible movies. I'm talking about the cartoon and whatnot. So. Yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to doing some of those. But Pylet, what have you been doing outside of Hearthstone?
I've played a lot more of Avowed. Kind of took a deep dive into that game. I know Torby and I were talking about a little bit in the Discord because I had the nice surprise when you enter the first city. I'm like, oh, this is the kind of game that's going to be. It's very, very, very fun storytelling. But I finished kind of the first area. On that, I've decided to lean into some sort of wizard. I haven't decided what type of spells I want to lean into yet. The shock stuff has been a lot of fun, though. But that game's definitely kind of filling that, itch for an Elder Scrolls-like game without having as much depth and as many things to distract me along the way, which has been probably good since school is starting up. We have work days and in-services to start this week, and we start with students later this week and have first football game. So all that's kind of coming to a head. Had a really good summer with the marching band. I've been incredibly impressed with where they've been at. And I feel like we're like a month ahead of schedule from where we normally are, which is a good thing and setting us up really well, hopefully, for this first game. We had our first kind of performances last week. We always take the band around and perform at a few area nursing homes. So we took a day instead of practicing and traveled around and played for them. And it's always great to see the residents and play for them and give them some music to fill their mornings with.
I hope you tell them you're coming first because that could probably startle somebody.
We do. They get it all set up, and the one place they have like a really nice courtyard right in the middle of it. That it's just a gorgeous area, and they had like 3 times as many people out as what they normally do. So we had to change where we set up and set up on like a little hill backed up against the wall, but it's great.
Nice. And behind baseball, I just realized that I did not start the backup recording. So we are all on our new service. We use a new service to record things. And the last couple of weeks we've been using it. I've been using the old method to record. I just realized that I never pushed the button. So we are doing this live without guardrails. Let's go. As far as me, nothing really exciting over the last few days, except for exciting for me is Monday I had lunch at work, and then Tuesday I didn't bring lunch, and I was like, you know what? Today's the day we're going to start doing some intermittent fasting, see how that works. So I have been eating 1 meal a day at 5. Like I'll eat between 5 and 8, and that's it. No beer, no like soda, no nothing. I've been drinking basically water and polar seltzer. And I shouldn't say no beer. Like I'm eating in that window. I went out Thursday night for, a couple drinks after work with some wings. And I'm not going to kill myself. So if like something happens on like a Wednesday and people say, hey, we're going for pizza for lunch, I'm going to go get some pizza for lunch. But for the most part, I'm skipping those meals. And the first week I've lost 10 pounds. So the trick to weight loss, you're hearing it first, is, let me check my notes, not eating. Okay. So, Pylet, do we have any news this week?
We do have a little bit of news here. We are recording on Monday. We got the patch teaser today. So by the time you're hearing this, you'll know more about this than what we do right now. But we have a whole slew of Battlegrounds changes. There's 40 Battlegrounds changes between nerfs, buffs, things that are going both directions, things they're adding, things they're taking away. We're not going to cover all those. That's a lot of cards that we are not here to talk about as much. But but a lot of stuff with Rally is getting nerfed, and a lot of Battlecry Murlocs, which is not super surprising if you played much of those. We are getting 2 standard changes. We are getting 2 nerfs to Amirdrasil and also to Reserve Spot. No full info on what those are at this time, but those were definitely have been featured in a couple of more scammy swing decks lately, so not overly surprising. I think Amirdrasil, the writing's been on the wall for a while with it being like a 70% mulligan win rate card since it was released. But I'm a little surprised that now is the time that they decided to pull the trigger on that.
Zeddy, what are your thoughts before I get into mine?
I don't know. I just feel like people aren't going to be. I mean, I've already seen the reaction. It's just not enough. I feel like I don't know. People want buffs. People want. I just feel like they're in a no-win spot at this point. I don't know what you do. Honestly, I mean, they're both fine nerf candidates. I think the hand buff hunter in particular is just like there's no redeemable merit to that deck. It just feels awful to face. And Amir, I mean, it's clear mulligan outlier, but like it's the only thing kind of propping up Druid right now. So I'm curious to see what Druid will look like, depending on when the changes. I imagine it just goes like 5 or something. We'll see. But it's something, but I just feel like people are wanting more, and people are just not thrilled. I was a part of the creator discussion on this, and I usually they ask like, what do you think should get buffed or nerfed or whatever, and I just honestly said I just don't know how you guys are happy with the current meta right now. I just didn't know what else to say. Like it's just I don't know. I got nothing good to say these days, and I'm really frustrated with that.
Well, that's going to make our main topic a little interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we'll name the patch section where we have buffs and nerfs the bursts for future reference. I think that'll work.
We need to do that for the BGs ones where they give the arrows both ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. As far as the BGs, we haven't got our heads wrapped around the current meta, never mind having to change it. So that's fine, whatever. I never really pay too much attention to those. I just be like, hey, where's this card? Oh, it's on tier 5 now. Crap. So it's fine. There's always just too many. It's too much. Although that's good because it kind of does mix things up. As far as the patch, I don't know if we needed it really right now because there's nothing like it's not going to do much. It's not going to affect much. It's it's going to change the scammy hunter deck, but that's like at a 3% play rate. It's not even, you barely see it as far as I know. And the druid, like you said, it's the only thing that kind of keeps druid. It doesn't really feel egregious in druid. It's like, I never feel like, oh my God, they played a Midrisil when I'm playing against it. Now, when they play 2 of them because they got it off of the, which has happened to me in multiple THL when they get it off the what's it called, the spell toy chest.
Mm-hmm.
That feels bad when you're just like, oh, good, 2 Midrisils. That's more than 1, and that's not good for my outlook on the game, and it hasn't been. But outside of that, I mean, it's been kind of they're in a tough spot, and they put themselves in a tough spot because of where the set launched and what these quests do, and part of it's still even how they kicked off the StarCraft stuff because we're still doing lots of Starship stuff. And I just ran into Starship Shaman and whatnot, so it's weird. But I kind of hope I hope that what they did this for was just to kind of clear the runway for the mini set in some way. But I don't know how impactful those cards could be. I'm really hoping that they say, okay, let's do a real deep dive in what kind of cards can we bring back from the core during the mini set or something that's like can shake things up and maybe help some of these archetypes out and whatnot. But as of right now, I don't know. This doesn't excite me.
Yeah, I don't know if this helps or hurts. I feel like it hurts more at this point. They did release a follow-up tweet a couple hours afterwards saying tomorrow's update is traditionally focused on battlegrounds, but we also took the opportunity to address a couple standard cards. Full patch notes will be live tomorrow with a rundown of all the upcoming changes. They always do the standard changes at this point. It's 2 weeks after the BGs, and we're in that middle between BGs and mini set. This is normally like the big patch before the mini set, I feel like. So I don't understand what the game plan is here.
That tweet made no sense to me. I'm just saying, because that's just not true. We've seen these patches have tons of standard changes. I know they're getting torn apart in the replies, but gaslighting doesn't help. So I don't know. That tweet made no sense to me at all.
Yeah, unless we're getting something else between now and the mini set, and the patch cycle's a little funky, but I don't see that.
We're not getting anything till the mini set.
I didn't think so.
Yeah, so there's some dev comments on the patch notes that kind of talk about that kind of communicate what the direction or like how they're feeling about quests and stuff. You'll see that tomorrow. Or I guess if you're listening, it's probably already out there, but they mentioned Stormwind, so I'll put it that way.
That's fair. And the fact that you just said gaslighting doesn't help. Old Zeddy is officially dead. New Zeddy is here to stay. I love it. It'll be interesting to see what they say. Now, I know that this year they're condensing some of the schedule because they're trying to get themselves on a better holiday schedule or whatever.
That part should be done. It's just, so everything else should now be like 2 months later, mini set, and the same for the next set. It looks like we'll have an early November expansion launch and an early December BG launch by the looks of it. If you, especially like the BG season pass expires like really early December. So that usually means that's when the next season goes live.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it just sets up to give that big balance patch. Well, normally a big balance patch right before that holiday, and still give like a little bit of time of something broke and fix it before they go on break, probably.
Yeah, because we've had some absolutely terrible times where I can remember it was like the Christmas of Rogue. It was like Null Rogue,
Rogue Edwin
for like 4 months. Yeah, that the
Evolve Shaman.
Mm-hmm. So they've been trying to accommodate for that. It feels like every year they're slightly adjusting.
Now, do you think we're going to get a big patch when the mini set launches that nerfs and buffs a bunch of cards outside that because that's happened before, right?
If they ever do changes with a mini set, it's always like one or two like absolute outliers that they just can't ignore. Like I think for StarCraft they hit Ethereal. It's like the one card. That's the last one they think they did. It's very rare. And then it'll be like a week and a half or 2 weeks after the mini set that we'll get the next balance patch. And then we're looking at the next 2 weeks after that's like the BG shakeup and the pre-order. And then after that, there's usually another balance patch. And then you have the expansion. So we might see, we should see at least 2 more like adjustment periods before the next set comes out after the mini set. But I'd be very, very surprised if we get any balance changes with the mini set. Although Rogue, if you look at top 1K right now, is at over 40% play rate. It's brutal. And it's only going to get worse now because Spell Damage Druid was one of the more popular decks, and it won't be. Same with Hunter. So maybe they'll do, I don't know. They've nerfed Rogue almost every patch, and it just never stops because, well, Prep and Step are pretty good. So, yeah.
Oh, this is a new topic for you.
I don't really ever talk about Shadow Step, but we could always, dabble.
So do we have any other news, Pylet?
We do. We had the Master Tour playoffs this past weekend, as Zeddy mentioned. I had co-streamed that. We had 2 people qualify for each region. These were the players who qualified through the point system for the playoffs, so they weren't in the Masters Tours yet, but they had enough points to qualify for this playoff tournament. They take 2 per region. For Americas, qualifiers were Kevin Schmidt and McBanterface. EU was Phil Feel and Nightmare 14. In Asia, Photon and Tobika. If looking through the popular brings, a lot of them are what people would expect, with Fyrak Rogue being the top one, Alonius being the second for all regions, and then kind of a mix following that of Starship VK, Nebula Shaman, Handbuff Hunter. Quest Warlock was a much more popular bring than I expected it to be, but it definitely fit in a lot of those lineups, as well as some Protoss Priests, especially in Asia and Americas was very popular.
I didn't like the fact that they stopped after you get to the top two. I understand the prizes they get there and they make it to the worlds or whatever, but to me, you spend 2 days in a tournament, you don't stop at two. You get a winner and you give them something. That's how a tournament works. I was like, why do we like I because we were supposed to record last night, and we ended up punting because Zeddy was doing a stream all day, and it was going to be kind of late, and so I was just like, I watched a bunch of the games, and I was like, okay, good. At least we'll get to see, you know, the finals, and then I was like, no, there's no finals. They get the top two. Like, well, why are we doing this? I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but I think that even for a tournament like this, the reward shouldn't just be getting to worlds. You should get at least some kind of token. Give them give them the 12 win arena battle arena run there. I don't know, something. Uh, Zeddy, you sat through a lot of games and you cast a lot of games.
Mhm.
How was it?
I was all right. It wasn't too bad. They do a lot better with production now that like Darok and TJ have been kind of running things, so I have no complaints on that side. The gameplay was better than the last time when it was like literally just Cycle Rogue and Spell Damage Druid every single freaking series. But outside of, I think almost everybody bought Rogue, so that got a bit tiring. But I was cool to see Quest Warlock did really, really well. Like, I think that'll pick up on ladder. I'm already seeing that at top 1K, it's picking up. And yeah, but we're talking about StarCraft dominant. Like Phil Field's lineup, literally every deck was Starships. And he qualified, like he advanced. So yeah, I don't know, it's quite a bit of older stuff, but the gameplay wasn't too bad. I will give a shout out to World 8, who looked like he was on his way to qualify. He was about to go up 2-0, and Doomsayer came off his maze guide, and he lost every game after that, and that was brutal. That was so brutal. So Doomsayer crushing dreams still in 2025.
That was rough. Yeah, that was that. Obviously, we're big fans of World 8. He's been on the show multiple times. Big fan. He's all helped me get better at Hearthstone personally,
Mhm.
and yeah, it was nice to see him kind of just working through the day and doing better and playing a fairly aggressive lineup. He brought the aggro paladin, which I was surprised. It's basically arena paladin, so
It was a really good choice when everyone's bringing Rogue, I will say, but he got absolutely scammed by like turn 4 active Opu was
Yes.
it was just everything just went against him in the last 3 games. So
Yeah. One
I was
held in
feeling
hand that was
fun.
active. And then the other one was a top deck or something like that. A top deck
Yeah,
Opu got him in the one spot. I'm like, oh jeez.
yeah.
and I think the same thing happened to him in the match against he played McBannerface earlier in the day or the day before in the
The day before.
the Swiss, right?
Mm.
And I think the same thing happened in that match. But no, it was really good to see. He's probably the reason why we're getting the buff card nerfed because he brought the scam hunter. Just kidding, uh, but yeah, that worked out. In that last game with him, I remember he had a really good start where he had all his buff cards out like right away, and he had a nice line. And then I forget what clear. It was the what cleared that? I forget.
I
I'll
don't
have to go back and
remember.
look at the VOD.
Mhm.
But it was like I looked away. I think I walked away. I was like, oh, he's gonna win this game. I came back and it was like, oh, he's down 0-1. I'm like, oh crap. Um,
Yeah. I do want to chime in. The production was really, really solid on the especially I was watching on the mainstream, and every time Lorinda wasn't casting, he was chatting away, and he even commented about it, how the behind the scenes production was doing an incredible job, and it definitely shows. They've definitely got the right people, running that, and it's hopeful for future productions.
And they've been taking our feedback too behind the scenes to further
Hmm.
improve stuff, which we had no direct communication with whoever was doing it last year. It's way better, and we actually got playoff streams. They didn't do that last year,
Yes.
so this was last minute. That's why there's like no drops, almost no promotion, but they were able to get it out, and yeah, hopefully that means bigger and better things for next year. Hopefully,
And they brought in Pocket Train to do a little casting too, which I thought was kind of a nice little touch because he's going to be, obviously participating in future playoffs and stuff. So
He was fantastic too.
yeah, it is nice to get kind of the analysts. Like obviously we get like some really good players like Lorenda himself is like a really, really good Hearthstone player. He's always, he's an 11-star player, is really good, but Pocket Train is on a different level, and it's always good to have that kind of insight. And I really enjoyed watching. I watched as much as I could this weekend, and I thought it was a lot of fun. So would you do it again, Zeddy? Was this the first time you did a full day of this?
No,
Or
I started doing it last year with, I always do it with Theo, and we did like Worlds, and then we did the spring Masters Tour this year as well, and we're going to do the summer one. It's just, it's a fun way to, like, I always want to promote esports. I've been trying to do that for, like, the whole inspiration for I used to do a This Week in Hearthstone video every week on my YouTube channel was to recap the Masters Tours that were going, or games that would go on every week. So I've always tried to help promote it, and yeah, it's a fun way to do it. And I also don't have to play, which is nice. I can just take a break and watch other people get screwed by bad RNG and stuff. So, and yeah, it just kind of gets you more in touch with the community and learning about players out there. And I just really enjoy it. And yeah, I'm planning on, as long as there's an esports event and I'm allowed to co-stream, I'll just keep doing it. And also me and Theo just insult each other like nonstop the whole time, which is always really fun. So,
any final thoughts on the playoffs before we move on?
not really, just congrats to everyone that qualified, and we'll see how they do at the championship, which I don't think it's been announced yet, but it'll be like mid-ish September, I believe. Should be happening. The summer championships in mid-September makes a lot of sense.
And McBanner was dominant throughout. I don't think he dropped a series. I think he won 8
He went
in a
8-0.
His fire axe skills were on point, to say the least.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know if you saw the clip. He was going into like a full board, and his opponent had 20 health, and he managed to clear the board and kill him with a single fire rack. It's pretty impressive. No muncher from a fire lines might have helped a little bit.
Yes, that's what it was.
Yeah.
So, Pylet, I know you wrote up the main topic this week, so why don't you bring us into it?
Yeah, so we're about halfway through the Hearthstone year here. As soon as the mini set hits, we'll be halfway through this year. I can't think of what the year of is off the top of my head. I totally blanked. And it's certainly one that we've heard plenty of opinions on. I think that's putting it lightly. We've talked about some of these past week, but kind of wanted to discuss those a little bit more, talk about how we feel about, balance, how the team is accepting community feedback, and also kind of things that we're looking ahead to. And I know when we were talking about the topic or ideas for topics throughout the week, Zeddy, you had mentioned, that, balance and the expansion not hitting had been a hot topic, and that it gave you some optimism for what was ahead. So I wanted to kind of send it to you first to kind of see what your thoughts were on that.
Well, my thoughts are that there's been a clear effort to lower power level to an extent in Hearthstone, starting kind of with the Great Dark Beyond, which also was a set that didn't hit amazingly well, and now we're all complaining that we've been facing starships for half a year. So it clearly ended up hitting pretty well. StarCraft had a lot to do with that, of course. But yeah, they've been consistent, like Emerald Dream. Like, how many imbue decks do you see on ladder? I think none at the moment, basically, right now. And then you have the latest set, which I feel like it's overhated a bit, because like Warrior Quest is good, Warlock Quest is good, you can play Quest Mage is good, Murloc Paladin is good. That's 4 of the 11 are pretty decent. It's just the rest are pretty far off. But at the end of the day, it's not like, I felt like we were in this constant pattern of every new expansion coming out and being absolutely nuts and basically deleting the prior meta, where we're not doing that so much this year. And I'm curious to see if they stay on this path that next year, in particular, when you don't have starships, you don't have the tourist cards, which are not talked enough about how much they dictate the meta and have been since they've been released. And also Whizbang, which is, again, an incredibly strong set that's already been nerfed around 30 times and is still really strong. What next year could look like, because for me, at least playing Hearthstone for the last year or so, I just feel like board trading, minion battling, and value has mattered very, very little. Every deck is so well streamlined, refined, and a lot of scamming and OTKs are just hostage decks with like infinite armor that I don't know. I'm hoping that if they stay on this path and then next year, like we have like the early access tavern brawl stuff where we see these metas are totally different when you don't have the older cards, the next year could actually feel really, really different than we've had in a little bit. But that depends on if they stay on this path and if like the next set's not insane or the mini set's not insane, then it just doesn't matter. We're just going back to we're deleting the prior thing, which is busted stuff. But I just felt like it was getting to a point where they kept doing that and then we kept dying sooner and sooner. It's like, where does it stop? And I feel like they like, okay, we need to kind of take a step back and maybe redo some things here. So that's just kind of why I'm like a little bit optimistic, because maybe next year it'll feel better. But yeah, in the meantime, it's pretty underwhelming, to say the least.
Yeah, do you remember how the first half of Dark Beyond we had starships and no one played any starships, and we were all sad that no one played starships?
Yeah.
We just had to wait a few months.
Yeah, they like buffed the Exodar to like 7 and some other starship pieces for like Warlock. And yeah, once that StarCraft set, it might be the most powerful contained little thing they've ever done. It's crazy how much all it takes is something like that. You never know, right? Like all the complaining right now could just be the next mini set, which I don't know. I've heard rumblings is going to be quite strong, so we'll see. I haven't seen the cards. I've just had some people say, I think there's a couple cards that might get nerfed really fast. So we'll see. I have no idea though. I haven't seen it yet.
I'm weird in that I'm still having fun playing Hearthstone, and I am more focused on better play and becoming a better Hearthstone player in general. So the fact that I'm playing an older deck or different decks or decks that we've seen for a while hasn't really bothered me that much. Although I know I have noticed that I have been relying a lot on Blob of Tar in the decks I've been playing, and that's kind of a boring card.
Such a good card, though.
It's good.
Oh my god, it's so good. And the thing is just I want to play the other. I want to play Quest Shaman. I want to play, all these quests. I want to do new things, but I'm still having fun with what I'm doing. But I really wish these new sets would hit. And it's even though I'm having fun, I could be having more fun. And that's what they really should be focused on is making these things fun. And I will say, you were talking about how Whizbang is one of the most nerfed sets. At least we haven't nerfed Zilliax in about 2 months, right? So maybe they finally got that one there.
Maybe. I don't know. It's still pretty freaking insane and like the amount of healing that thing. But yeah, I think it's in the right spot. It's probably safe till it rotates, I think.
Yeah, I feel like I don't feel as bad when that drops as we used to. It's not Unkiliax. It's not like, oh god, here we go. But they had to make several nerfs to get it to that point, and not just with that, they had to make nerfs to Hydration Station, and they had to make nerfs to a couple other cards, and they finally got it there. So I don't know. I don't feel like power. Like we always talk about power creep, and I don't care about power creep. Like if in 3 years my one drop does 16 things, as long as like the games are good and fun and it's not just like a one turn thing, as long as like the power level of everything is kind of balanced or as balanced as it could be, I don't care what we do as long as it's a fun game. And I'm still having fun, but yeah, I hope that we can find a place where we can start um, making these new cards and sets impactful, because it's not just the players that play the game. It's people like Zeddy who makes content, who are ambassadors for the game. And if you give them something that they can't really work with, then it's just down to like Funky Monkey and Warshack, who play off meta decks that can probably make some decent content because they lose anyway, so it's fine. What are your thoughts, Pilot?
First thought that I have is it kind of goes back to something I think I mentioned when we talked a couple weeks ago about Hearthstone. At least in the time that I've been playing, I started playing in Ashes of Outland, is as a game and as set to release, it wants to set up the sets to where it's introducing a new deck idea generally, and then giving some support to old stuff. And it's a lot more about let's make something new with the sets rather than let's give you a few generic cards and then you can figure it out from what you already have. And that's what a lot of, especially the recent sets, have been built on. And that makes it to where if it hits, it really hits, or if it misses, it really misses. And this set and the last set with Quest and Imbue just exemplify that, because you have to put all the stuff in for the thing to make that thing work. And if it's not good enough, all those cards are just dead until something else changes it. So I think that makes it a lot different compared to if it was a game that was built on, you kind of have, your core archetype that this class does, and it's just picking up new tools along the way. I think that's why Rogue is still going strong, because there are just a lot of really strong, very roguey cards right now. Sandbox Scoundrel is just a rogue card that goes in a deck, and then you figure out how you're using it later on. Shadow Step, Prep, all the coin generation. You just put all those very roguey cards in and then figure out how you're going to get to a win condition later on, just because those cards are really powerful by themselves. And it's allowed it to adapt from Incendious with Oracle to Playhouse Giants, and now back to Incendious with Cycle Rogue, or to Fire Rack and all that fun stuff that we see. I do think it's trying to think of what I was going to say now. It's tricky to find the balance in that. I'm enjoying the game more this week than I was the past 4 weeks probably, and nothing overly has changed other than I think people have kind of opened up more deck ideas and been like, well, these decks are obviously powerful. Maybe I'll just look for some alternatives, and sometimes that's what it takes. But I think we're still kind of in a weird spot of, we had a couple years where lethality was super high. We mentioned Stormwind already. We had super high lethality. Then we started to shift to where instead of pulling that back as much, we started to try to give counters to that. Life gain got a lot higher. Armor's gotten a lot higher. Lifesteal, Rush, all these comeback mechanics are super, super strong right now. But there's a few decks that can kind of do the damage over, like Alonius Druid can do 200 some damage or whatever when it hits the right cards. But a lot of other decks can't. And there's no way getting around that. Starship DK. If they play an armor card and you're aggro, you just lose. You're just done if they get the Starship going. And it's really difficult to try to fix that right now.
Listen to what you're saying, and what I've thought too is, I think a lot of the cards are too synergistic. And what I mean by that is, I thought the metas were better and more interesting when you had Colossus or Titan, which, yes, they were big build around cards, and yes, they were powerful, but it wasn't like if your Titan was bad, the rest of the set was bad, because you had these other cards, and it was a direction you could go in, and it would maybe a card that was your best card in any deck you play. But then there was a lot of ability to play other things and do other things, and make them happen. And I thought that's a lot more interesting. Whereas if you have a elemental deck and that doesn't hit, or a kindred deck, or a quest deck, and all the tools are for that particular thing and it doesn't hit, then it's not just one card that doesn't work, it's all those cards that don't work. Or because you're not going to play, Jay Alexander said last week, if you playing SI7 Rogue, you're not playing all those cards outside of the SI7 Rogue, because that was the entire point of it. And yeah, maybe you still play the original one there, or maybe you play one or two, but you're not playing all of them, because they're not just good cards outside of the synergies with each other. So I don't know. I think that I like it better when we aren't so synergistic for an entire package, maybe two or three cards, but not for quests are hard. And I didn't mind Stormwind quests except for the mage quests. I haven't minded quests in general. Quest lines were interesting, and I think that they could have combined the two. Again, card design is hard. I'm not being critical of anybody that made ideas on the cards, because it's really hard to come up with a plan. and execute that and make it work and make it fun and do that for 11 classes and make it all balanced and whatnot. But I think if you would have taken the concept of quest line and merged it with the low lethality of what we have now, so instead of getting to the end and maybe it doesn't do a lot, the quest like doesn't have this big bang finish, but you have steps along the way that help you in the game. So maybe it gives you some reduction or power or whatever, but it's not like the end result of the quest is like the big bang. It's just as you go along, it's helpful. Maybe that could be useful. But I also think about what you were saying too. You were talking about armor, DH, and all this. The only class that really should have lots of armor is warrior. Druid to maybe a little bit of that, but the fact that we have all these classes that can gain so much armor, I don't think we need to restrict each class to being in with their class identity so much. But I think that we can bring it in a bit and like keep some things like have priests do more healing, have warriors gain more armor, and do interesting things with that. Armor DH does not need to have 200 armor in a game or anything like that. But Zeddy, what are your thoughts?
Well, I agree with I don't think neutral armor gains should be strong. I just don't. I think that's been. I feel like it's proven it's not the greatest thing. Like Warlock with hundreds of armor, it just doesn't make sense. I don't know. It's just weird to me. And with it's like we're kind of talking about like parasitic card design, where like a lot of these sets are like all in on making an archetype work, and if it doesn't, the card's useless. That's why I kind of like the warrior quest the most. It doesn't require you to play anything specific, just live. Like I like that one the most. Like just survive, right? That's a quest in itself in any Hearthstone game. So, and then the reward itself, you don't have to build around, you just get some quest rewards. So I kind of like that one in that regard. And I feel like we always talk about Stormwind in terms of like the quest lines, and like we could have taken that step, but I feel like we don't talk enough about Old Doom, which didn't get any quests nerfed, and about half of them saw play. I like the fact that Old Doom, you didn't have to pay for your reward. You just got it, right? You got a hero power, I think, for all of them. Like the one with like DK, I don't want to pay 5 mana for an 8/8 that does nothing. It's so brutal. I wish they could have taken, I don't know, another approach to like maybe some of these auto cast or summon when completed. I just because like, yes, you already lose a card in your opening hand and you lose your turn 1, which matters more in a lot more now than it has ever in a lot of ways. And there's also, I've heard talks of like, maybe if you make every quest just draw a card when you play it. Like there's other things they could have done. But at the end of the day, it's like, if the quests are really good, then is that make the game more fun too? I'm not, I know you, Tito, you say you don't dislike quests so much. I just find them boring when they're good because it's always the same thing. Like I find the games to be really repetitive when a deck that requires you to do a very specific thing is good, because then it's the same thing every single game and it gets kind of tiring. So I just particularly just didn't want to see quests come back at all. Like I'm like, why do we have to keep revisiting the same mechanics over and over? Can we do something new? I don't know. It'd be fun. I don't have good ideas. I know how to complain. I don't have really good ideas, but I don't know. I feel like we go down the nostalgia well too often lately where, well, let's do hero powers again. Let's do quests again. And even the other mechanic of this expansion, which nobody talks about because it also hasn't landed, but we just don't talk about it, is Kindred, right? That's the keyword. That's also just a reused mechanic we've seen with like elementals and stuff. So I don't know. I want something new. I want something new and exciting, and not just quests for the 4th time or hero cards for the 5th time. Or I love hero cards though. Maybe that's okay, but bad example. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like they repeat the same stuff a little bit too much. We see that in BGs too. When's the last time we got a really big new mechanic? They got, I think, the rally keyword. I haven't played it all this season, but they haven't had like a new mechanic like quest or buddies or anomalies or anything forever, or a new tribe forever. It's like, let's get some new stuff. I want to get excited about new stuff.
Yeah, I thought we were getting Draenei in Battlegrounds when they were releasing the Dark Beyond set, and
I thought we were going to get
there's only so much
too, by the way, but we didn't really get Draenei
Yeah.
constructed.
Yes, I agree. And at the same time, there's only so much space you have in the space in the client and what they do. And Magic finds a way to do like new mechanics and whatever, but a lot of those are kind of repetitive and a lot of those are super complex. So it would be really hard
Mhm.
to put them into a Hearthstone game where they're trying to keep it simple. So I'm okay with them coming back to the well of quests of I love to see Colossus is back
Yes,
again.
I'm 100% would love Colossus, maybe Titans too someday, because that's the last. That and Starships, like Starships, definitely new mechanic, and it worked, and
Mhm.
that's pretty good too. That was the last true new one. So I don't want to say there we don't ever get anything new. It's just I don't know. The last few sets has been repetitive that way.
Yeah, and I think that they're good when they keep using mechanics. It's just that they have to find ways to make them different.
Mhm.
And I know that sounds kind of opposite, but yeah, like if you're gonna do something with hero power, it can't just be inspire, right? It has to be some kind of maybe a counter that keeps build. Every time you use a hero power, you get some kind of you do it 5 times and you get a reward or something. I don't know. There's ways to do it. It's hard. Card design is hard. They do not have an easy job, nor do they have enough support to do the jobs that they need to do. And that's not their fault. It's not Teams Five. I mean, right now I, I think they could have came out of final design a little stronger, and I think that we're still paying for the crimes of Demon Hunter coming out so strong because I think they just get too nervous about releasing things too strong and having to buff it or nerf it emergency like 2 days later because it was so powerful that it just ruins the meta or something like that. But I'd rather have you come out strong and have to make adjustments than if it's not strong enough, there's like really nowhere to go.
I
So
will mention though they had the shortened development cycle this expansion, and I think it really showed. Right, the 3 months we were talking about the Titan schedule. I think it really showed. We saw like literally during like the reveal season, cards were they were changing cards like last second, where like that Toru card for Demon Hunter was like 6 mana or something, and then they bumped it to 9. Like, or the Murloc quest required 6 Murlocs and they bumped it to 5. I feel like they didn't have enough time to cook, and we've seen them have to make a lot of like we rarely see them have to buff like half of the cards in the set. It felt like had they buffed like over half the quests, right? So,
Mhm.
and I think also Stormwind played a huge factor where like they know how badly that expansion was perceived, and they saw it internally that they didn't want another Stormwind, so they played it like probably way too safe. And like you're saying, maybe it's better to go a little bit harder, and if it's too much, scale it back. It's hard to figure out which side of it, but clearly they played it too safe this time around, and Demon Hunter definitely another indicator of that thing. But I do think with the Demon Hunter thing, they really did learn with Death Knight, where that actually launched a little undercooked, and then they brought it up, and Death Knight's been good ever since. So I thought they really learned from Demon Hunter in a good way, at least in that regard with Death Knight, because Death Knight might be my favorite class ever now. Like I just always want to play it.
And to be fair, I know I said that things that need buffing them isn't necessarily good, but they did that in a few different cases that it worked out really well.
Mm-hmm.
They did that with the Demon Hunter relics.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't strong, and then they kind of kept increasing them until they were good. Then they did the rifts with the warrior, which weren't really good, and then they became pretty solid and whatever. But then they had the opposite, where it's the wild seeds, which were nerfed how many times?
Yeah,
Like every so
those were
it's a hard
dust
thing.
generators too. Holy crap! There was.
Yes, yes. I really and they were fun. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
but all three of those things I thought were fun.
Mm-hmm.
They were maybe unbalanced and needed to be improved or removed, but they were fun things to do, and they weren't an entire. I mean, I guess relics were kind of like the whole Demon Hunter thing for a little while, but I don't know. It felt like there were other things that you could do with Demon Hunter at the time too.
It didn't define the deck as just like a support package within your deck,
Yeah.
right? So, like, you could run relics, but you ran other stuff. You ran other win conditions, like,
Mhm.
other than that. So, the only thing I didn't like was Relic of Dimensions because it just cheated way too freaking much mana. But other than that, but you know me and mana cheat makes me mad. Grr. Zeddy rant.
What are your thoughts, Pilot?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I like how you brought up the neutral armor gain to where, I think we've seen a very focused push for the past year and a half or so for the neutral cards to be more playable. We don't have nearly as much pack filler as I think there used to be, because I remember when I first started playing, you could just ignore half the neutral cards and it was totally fine. And I feel like now there's a lot more neutrals that they're designing to a lot that you can consider. Some of them are niche, and I think that that's okay. But I think there's still a few too many just generically powerful cards that you find you find a deck to put them in, and you just find a way to make sure that they go in your deck. And I don't think that we have as many that are Yogg level problems like we had for a year. But I still think, if you look down the list, there's still a lot of neutrals that are just in everything. Ancient of Yore, Elise, you're finding just reasons to get Elise in and try to get that 10 different costs, because the card is just so generically powerful and it doesn't matter what class it's in. And that's where then the class power level and the class card power level starts to lose its shine, and now everything feels very homogenized and everything's kind of copying the same thing. I think that's what frustrates me the most.
And that's kind of what they, for a while there. I mean, I think what they want to do is they want to have powerful neutrals. So especially if you don't have a lot of, you're not buying a big collection or whatever like that, you have cards that you can use to play in multiple decks. But we've had so many cards that have just destroyed the meta, and like you said, homogenized it over. Like we've had Denathrius, we've had Prison of Yogg, we've had Yogg himself, right? We've had
Astellar was a big one.
Yep.
Astellar. We've had so many cards, and I think that you're right. I think that you want to have impactful cards that are neutral, but you don't want to have impactful cards that are so impactful they have to go in almost every deck. It just makes it so it's too samey, and then you think, well, how about just some support cards? And then you get support cards like the Crystal. The Crystal probably should have been a warrior card because armor.
Well, warrior didn't have starships to start the set.
This is true.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Maybe, but yeah, armor gain, and there's always something that someone finds in the neutral set that just breaks things and goes in every deck. And you want to when you queue up, you want to have different experiences every game. You don't want to say, oh, hey, I'm playing against Demon Hunter. Oh, it's Starship. Oh, I'm playing against Death Knight. Oh, it's Starship. Oh, I'm playing against so you want to have that variety, and I think the neutrals kind of bring the sameness to a lot of the decks, and that can be frustrating.
We talked about some of this a little bit, but I know we've all kind of mentioned community feedback quite a bit, and I do feel like there has been a decent amount of this that has been seen. We saw a lot of feedback with Arena, especially the rewards, and we saw some changes there, and them saying we're going to continue to look at this, where they took some of the golds from crowd's favor, spread that out, did more gold rather than packs and stuff like that. There's been plenty of feedback about pets in the Dark Moon Fair, which we'll see where that goes. I know that it didn't change for the one that was just launched in China, but that was also close enough to it that could have been locked in before too many changes got into play, or could have been voiced and looked at. But I guess, do we feel like players' voices are being heard well enough, and what changes are we hoping might come from it?
Zeddy, is your voice being heard?
I can't tell because they're not talking to us lately. It feels like, the mods, the Dark Moon Fair prize, we haven't heard anything, not a word. They even asked in the original pet blog for our feedback, so it's like, we'll see. I'm on the wait and see with what they're doing with that mythic Yogg, and if they're just doubling down like they did in China. And with the arena rewards, they asked us, they updated it at the beginning of July, and we haven't seen anything. Like, the 9-win rewards literally make no sense right now in arena. Like, I just had a 9-win run today where my reward for 9 wins in a 300 gold format was my tickets back and 1 pack. And that's just not right. Like, if you look at it, it should be 3 tickets in a pack, and then it would make sense. But it feels like it honestly feels like a typo that's been there for almost 2 months. And even standard, like the communication's not super there. We just don't seem to understand the direction of anything right now. And I feel like a lot of that comes down to like leadership, whether it's the director or other executives or whoever, and we just never hear from them. It's like, talk to us. And they're clarifying their teaser images today because it's so out of the loop. And even that didn't make their explanation on that didn't make sense. Like we said, like, no, normally these are standard and BG patches. Like this is normal. And now it's not. Like they also said when the mini set or the BG update launched that we normally don't update cards at this point, but we're doing it's 2 patches in a row. That doesn't make sense. So yeah, I don't feel super hurt on that stuff. And I don't know. It's concerning. It's a little bit concerning because normally they're way better at this stuff, especially the last couple of years. I guess it was more like when Ixar would always do the AMAs and all that stuff, and we just never hear from devs anymore. And it's just outside of the odd, very obviously proofread blog posts that are very corporate, bold, fearless, whatever. We don't get a ton of real insight these days, and I just kind of wish we would get that. And yeah, we need some good news. That's what I feel like. We just need something. We haven't had that big thing for a while, and I desperately want it right now.
Focused, fearless, fun.
Yeah,
I believe was.
About
Do
a
we
year
actually
ago.
have a director though?
yeah,
Is there a director right now?
yeah. Tyler Bielman is our director. Publicly in official Blizzard stuff, he appeared in the Warcraft 30-year anniversary thing. That's the only time we've ever heard from him, other than one magazine article where he was interviewed like last August. We basically never hear from him.
And I think the not hearing from devs is probably twofold. One is because people shout at him all the time, and like,
Mhm.
who's going to want to subject themselves to that? But two, we also don't know what's being told to them behind the scenes. They may be being told, don't talk to the people as much
Well, I'm
because,
sure
you know,
I'm sure that's absolutely happening. I'm pretty sure they're told like, yeah, I'm pretty sure they have to get approved to say almost anything at this point. Honestly, even like the like Alkali didn't even announce that she was the community manager. Like, I don't think they wanted her to. Like, we said it,
she's
but
she's not the community
or
manager. She
influence
is there.
manager. Sorry, yeah, influence manager.
I, I believe there is a community manager,
Yeah,
but
there's
I
multiple.
but it's the same thing where it's just we don't know what they're told, and maybe
Mhm.
that's why we don't have a hat because like maybe he talked too much. I don't know. Maybe we all think he was great. Maybe they hated the fact that he was great to the community. I don't know. Maybe
Well,
that's not what they want.
being great or being loved and people thinking you're great as a part of the community, our creators, is one thing. You need to be loved and think you're great by your employer first and foremost. And we don't know. And clearly
Yeah.
some disconnects there because he's not on the team anymore. So I consider him a friend, and I literally talked to him every day until that happened, and I still talk to him, but not nearly as much because he's not involved in stuff. And yeah, I'll just say that I don't know the details, but there's clearly something going on there that they were like thrilled, I guess. Maybe like you said, he talked too much, put too much out there, and that's a possibility, especially like he would go above and beyond his job description, but maybe they don't want that. They want you to do what they tell you to do, right? So I don't know. I've worked corporate worlds or corporate jobs before, and it's always a bunch of it's just yeah, I don't know. You could be loved by a bunch of people. It doesn't matter if your boss doesn't care or whatever. Like they're the ones that are paying your bills and decide if you're employed. So that's just
And speaking of paying bills, I know we're all talking about, hey, it's $158 to get the pet. That's kind of stupid, and we've had the stories and all that. We don't know how well this is done in China and other regions because like we have a certain kind of idea of how things go and what we think about things, but there's an entirely different economy over there and how things work in these kinds of games. Like go to cafes and they pay per hour and all. So who knows if this is like even a drop in the bucket for them or not. So if in China they sell like 6 million copies of the pet, then it's not going to matter what we think in America and EU because all they're seeing is dollar signs and it was successful. So yeah, maybe some people are kind of upset about it, but um, we made more than enough money. So I'm assuming that if they're making money, we're not going to see a change in it, even if we're not happy with it.
My from what I've heard, it did extremely well in China. From like inside sources or whatever, but like it's not publicly out there, the data, like you're never gonna know, but I've heard that it did really well. The thing is, China has their own client. And I even made this suggestion to them privately, like, if it's doing really well in China and it's pissing everyone else off here, why not just do it in China and have an option to sell it separately here? You can have different economy or different offers in different, like they have their own currency in there, like they have runestones and like their own mythical orbs and stuff. Like they already have different stuff over there. So I just wish it was offered separately. Like it bugs me right now that they hyped up pets for over a year. It's a giant new mechanic. I mean, it's cosmetic or whatever, and you can't even get one now if you want it. If you missed out on it, you can't even get a pet. Like you could get a portrait, you could get a card back, you could get whatever right now, but a pet, there's no way to get one right now if you didn't do the thing or get a 1 in 1,000 at the time. Like that just doesn't make sense to me on a new mechanic to launch it that way. Like it just bugs me. Like how do you market that? Like there's people using it at the playoffs. I'm like, I had people like, oh, how do you get that pet? I'm like, you can't. You just can't get it. So like, okay, it's just bizarre to me. Absolutely bizarre.
And I don't know how much work it goes into developing one of those. I'm sure they outsource it to some company or whatnot, right? Because I don't. Or maybe they did in house. Who knows? But if they were like $10, like they would make. It's one of the. I would probably buy way more than I should because it's only $10, and then $300 later I have all the pets and now I have to chase the mythical one. Like that's fine, but like it was just cards that are diamond cards that don't see any play are like $80 and you're like whatever it is and you're like why I'm never going to play this card, why would I get it in diamond? And I don't know, it's just the whole modeling of things is crazy to us right now. So uh if you take that and you put it on top of the fact that the last set didn't hit. So people spend money on the sets, and it's not cheap. You're paying AAA prices for a set every 4 months and whatever it is. So you if you play those, you paid for all that. Your set didn't hit, and then you're saying, "Oh yeah, by the way, here's a $158 pet. Go get it." I mean, it's compounding the issues that is driving probably the community away. I'm sure the Hearthstone numbers are down.
Um, it's hard. My YouTube is actually up because people are pissed off, and who do they go to when they're pissed off? But yeah, gameplay wise, it seems down. Arena's up though. People are actually pretty engaged in watching people play the underground arena. I also wonder if a part of it's because it's so expensive now. People don't want to play as much; they'll just watch it instead. But yeah, it's turning people away. It's upsetting people, and the thing is with the pet, you say like how many pets do they sell? I don't think they care about how many pets they sell. The whole idea is just to get people to spend maybe 10, 20, maybe $30 chasing it and then giving up. It's like for every person that actually got the pet, think about how many people spent money and just gave up after a while. That's a lot of money. That's the whole idea behind the thing. And they make it so that it doesn't look like it's that unlikely to get. You have to, if you want to know the actual odds, you have to click a question mark, click the OK, go to the web page, click the Dark Moon Fair prizes tab. It doesn't even auto go to where you're supposed to go. Scroll down, they show you the first poll's odds, show you one example after that, and then you have to calculate based off that yourself what your odds are going to be as you go along. Almost nobody's going to do that, and they're aware of that, and yeah, they're going to make a lot of just excess revenue based on people not knowing that. That's the main idea. So that's my issue with the whole thing is it's not meant to sell it for $158. It's meant to just get people to spend $10, $20 that they normally wouldn't spend gambling a little bit. and then they give up. Most of them, most likely.
But all those people would spend the $10, $20 and get the pet.
Yeah, it's it sucks. Like it really sucks. And but I mean, this is if you look at almost every game like this, they all do that, and they wouldn't do it if it wasn't working, right? It's just the way I don't know. It's a psychologically. It's one of these things that's going to keep going on until the government becomes more aware, or like U.S. government, whoever, more aware that there's basically legal gambling going on within video games they're not even aware of, and they're just milking people for it left and right all over the place. Like the fact that this thing is like illegal in some countries should be a little bit telling, right? Like this cute little King Crush pet's illegal in Belgium. You can't even get them. It's like, this is a children's card game. We shouldn't have monetization so egregious they have to ban it in countries.
To be fair, I want my government to fix a lot of other things first before they start looking at my video games.
Exactly. There's a lot of things going on in the world that are, and that's why I don't know if will they ever get to that. Like, because of course, there's a lot more important things in the world for sure. I don't disagree.
I play mobile games and whatnot, and I typically try to not spend money. But there's the occasional time where it's like, oh, I just need 10 more of these. It's $1, $2. Yeah, sure, whatever, just do it. And it's fine, but like there should be a limit to where these things are. And we are the ones that vote with our wallets. And if people are paying for it, then there's not much we can do. There's going to be the vocal majority or the vocal minority, which is us saying, hey, we could do this better. Yet there's going to be the paying majority that's telling them, hey, this works. And let's keep doing it. So, yeah.
I used to get every diamond and signature, by the way, for quite a while. This expansion, I didn't buy a single diamond or signature bundle. So they're at least, I'm starting to get priced out, or at least voting with my wallet a little bit. So I'll put it that way. And I did get the pet, but the Blizzard really got it. So they gifted the runestones for it's crazy. They wanted us to highlight the system. Like, do you really want us to highlight this system? It doesn't seem really, there's nothing really to highlight that's good here. And yeah, my video is something like it's a scam. That's me sponsored by Blizzard. Well, not sponsored, but they did give me the runestones. So that was interesting to say the least.
Yeah, that was really, really strange. I don't know why you want to show somebody spending all that money to get the thing finally so people can go, huh.
And like every creator except I think Eddie got it on their 10th pull. Like everybody got it. Well, not unlucky, just the regular expected luck. So they didn't rig our accounts at least. We all rolled it on our first one. That would have been something. Not suspicious at all.
Don't give them ideas.
Yeah.
Pylet, what are you thinking over there?
Zeddy, I like what you said of we need some good news. We're just at that point because I didn't even I was busy with work all day. I worked for 12 hours today, so I didn't even know that there's a balance patch teaser today until I asked Tito. I'm like, do we have any news to talk about? Is like the balance patch. I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And then I jumped on Discord and it was just a wall of text from people. And that happens constantly in Discords that are typically pretty, mild mannered is not the word that I'm looking for, but typically keep it constructive and try to keep it on topic and then go to the salt mine when they need to. And the fact that that's becoming more constant in some of those Discords is, I think, a sign of we need something that's going to get us going again. And, is some of that, I think, maybe a little bit over, possibly, when, how many of the nerfs have we gotten lately have, completely and utterly killed the card? At least cards that, shouldn't be killed. Like low probably killed the card. That's one. It's either going to be, bad or it's going to be busted. That one probably needed to go up a lot. But we've had a lot of, I think, okay, light nerfs to where they've kept the deck viable still. And people are immediately, it's just like, oh, hand buff hunter's completely dead. We don't know what the changes are, but it's going to be completely dead, unplayable. Reserve spot is just dust fodder. Just like, breathe. Like, we've seen this constantly. I'm like, half the top decks have been nerfed like 5 times in the past 6 months. Like, we keep cycling through because they're trying to keep them somewhat viable, but because we have nothing that we can really grab onto, that's where we go. Is, pitchforks and torches and stuff like that, which I don't blame people at all. Because I even feel it, and I'm not naturally a person to get to that point.
And I don't know if you guys listen to the VS Report podcast, but like even Zacho he's talked about this quite a bit lately. He talked about it on the show a little bit. It's just like they're nerfing so much that old decks are coming back because the power level is so low that when they nerf things, all of a sudden we're playing. I'm playing Cliff Dive Demon Hunter, and not because there's a new card that I want to pop out of Demon Hunter. I still got Green Rag and Methagadon, and the only thing that's really different in that deck is Califero, right? Because but that's an old card too. So they're bringing the power level down so much that these old decks that we didn't want to play then we're playing now, and it's frustrating. But yeah, I hope so. Try to put this in the positive direction. What would you want to see in the next month that's going to kind of heart you? We have a mini set coming out. We're going to have a new expansion coming out. Like, what do you think needs to happen for us to kind of like start being a little more positive in the community? Zeddy, what do you think?
Just give us some interesting stuff to work with in the mini set, I guess. And I'm more already kind of looking towards the next set, and I want to see just something new, a new exciting kind of mechanic we haven't seen maybe before, or I guess something like a Colossal or like a Titan coming back. I just feel like we need something exciting to get us. And for me, I was not ever excited for Angoro because it was quests. So I came into it kind of meh. And then the expansion's meh, so I'm still meh. And then we get bad monetization news. I would just like to see no drama with monetization just for a little bit. Like, can we have a break from that and just a cool new exciting mechanic, whether it's OP or whatever. I just want to something. And I feel like we should get something pretty cool. It's like a time travel expansion. Like, there's so much stuff they could do with that. I'm looking forward. I'm hopeful for that and see where the mini set lands. And I don't know. I'm just kind of more of like looking at the way they're directing power level and the way they're going to the game, that short-term things that might suck for a bit more. And it's just might be worth it in the long run, because I do bring up the fact that people like to crap on Rostigan's Rumble's the worst set of all time, but it also allowed things to be scaled back, that a Rise of Shadows and other sets could come in and start pushing things again and go into Senate Dragons, and then it was quite a little bit of a boom again for a while. And there's just, I think there might be a natural ebb and flow to card games where there are going to be these years where sometimes I got to take a step back for a little bit and see how things go. So yeah, short term, it's been frustration. I feel like it wouldn't be nearly as frustrating if we had other cool things, not just here's the cool pet, but it's $160, or, there'd be some good stuff outside of gameplay, and we're just getting more negative instead. So we're just latching on to negativity all around. Just like I keep saying, we just need some type of good news, and I'm hoping the next set can be that, because I have a feeling the Mythic Yogg thing ain't going to make things any better. With that coming up soon, I imagine.
Paolo, what are your thoughts?
I think the biggest thing that, I'd like to see scaled back, and I don't know if they can do this well enough in the next even 6 months, or if they're just going to have to wait till rotation, but the comeback mechanics have gotten a little bit too strong. You need comeback mechanics. You need something so that it feels worth playing the game after you've lost slight control. But the fact that, I don't know if Brawl's the best example, but it's the example that comes to mind. We've seen a lot of Control Warriors ditch Brawl over the past year and a half, which is a 5 mana take care of everything but one thing unless there's death rattles. Like, the fact that has been phased out because it's not powerful enough compared to the other things that they're able to do, I think says a lot. And yes, it's a classic core card. Should it be the best way? I don't know. That's a different discussion. But the fact that something like that as a comeback mechanic isn't needed, I think says a lot, because we just have so much armor gain. We have so much life steal and life gain in, Death Knight with, +5 health, and all this stuff, to where we have so much rush plus life steal on minions. There's just so much of it that it strangles out so many decks, and it's kind of swung a little bit too far in my opinion. But that just might be the aggro go face person in me.
No, I actually agree that like it kind of no, it like kind of eliminates the board battling when you can just sit back and then just do a full swoop and get to full health. And yeah, like because we just don't see a lot of board battling, I feel like these days. Like the aggro decks in Hearthstone are probably the healthiest decks right now. Like I keep saying we should, like, when I talk about balance changes in my videos, like nuke the scams, nuke the insane armor. I'm like why aren't you complaining about the aggro decks? Because they're just playing Hearthstone. Like that's actually Hearthstone. Go face, play minions. If you get cleared and stuff, then you probably lose to the control deck. But yeah, it's so insanely efficient for, like, when I play Deathlight and I go in an aggro deck, I basically know I'm gonna win. Like unless I get really unlucky, and it should be not so unbelievably lopsided, and also kind of locks out like a lot of more mid-range style of minion decks too, because I mean they can play a bunch of dumb idiots, but if you're getting a billion armor and infinite value and demons and or just time warping you with the warrior, it just doesn't matter. So I do think that even as someone who likes controlling the slower stuff, that I miss when Hearthstone had more value and stories to tell, because we don't have a lot of Hearthstone stories to tell. And it was telling, this might be off topic or related, but Trollden's latest video, somebody commented on it, like, why do you keep putting just arena games in here? He's like, because arena is where the interesting, crazy things happen, because standard doesn't have that so much anymore. And Hearthstone, again, outside of like Fire Rock, it's kind of missing that. And I think a lot of that's just, lack of like value in minion battling and stuff like that. It's just too much back and forth swings instead. Like, I clear your board and gain 1 million health and develop something, and then you clear my board and gain 1 million health and develop something or whatever.
I think they should just, like we talked about this. For a positive, I would like to see them give us a pet or two.
Mhm.
And not necessarily give it to us, but like if you want to sell us for $10, whatever. But I think there should be a pet that if you get if you get all the achievements completed for an expansion, there's a pet there for you. Maybe have it as a reward for a 12-win run in the brawl or something. Like, have other ways to get the pet that don't cost $158. Have different ones. Have the just fun. Like, how much fun would it be to have to try to complete all the achievements to get a pet? And I don't care what the achievements are. Make them stupid. Doesn't matter.
Just you saying $158, it's just laughable. But that's even a thing. $150 for a pet. I turn off, by the way. I don't use it because it actually slows your game down so much. Because after you win, there's this celebration screen that you cannot skip, and then there's like a little XP progress bar to unlock his next skin. You cannot skip, and it adds like 10, 15 seconds every game, which is super annoying. But like but I agree. Like, why do they not have like a really basic whatever pet that everyone can get for free? And like, oh, here's a shiny, really cool one you could spend a bunch of money on. But no, it's just straight, just give us the money. We don't want to even mess with that. That's, I don't know. It just kind of, nothing about it makes sense to me, at least, other than, they're making money, which I guess makes sense.
And while we may have sounded a little bit negative here, we're just kind of talking about the way things are.
I'm on the, it's a Zeddy. It's gonna be negative. It's what but no.
But like, I'm still loving Hearthstone.
Mm-hmm.
I still love playing the game. I'm not at the. There are some people there that are probably quitting or on the quitting. I quit Snappy almost 2 years ago because it was just too crazy as far as trying to. I couldn't keep up, and as a free to play player, because I'm not a free to play player in Hearthstone. I am a free to play player in Snap, and it was just so hard to like keep up and even stay relevant, and I hated it. So I just kind of abandoned it, and I stuck with the Hearthstone, which it's what I like.
Well, at least if you haven't been keeping up, Marvel Snap's at its worst state ever lately, and it seems like more and more people are quit. It's gotten more expensive since you quit. It's even worse.
Which is why Hearthstone should be taking advantage of that time and doing things right. It's like, oh, hey, look, it costs $150 for that card that you play. Instead of play to win, you can pay to get a pet. Anyway.
Yeah. I'll give one positive. I do. Besides the can't skip the pet stuff, I do think it's adorable and really cute. And yeah, I like that you can drag them around. You can actually pick them up and drag them around the entire board, which is really cute too.
Oh, you can? Because I don't think you could do that during the theory crafting. I thought he was
It
kind
was
of just jammed in
no,
there.
we just didn't know, but you can just hold the food right in his mouth, and he'll latch onto you, and then you can pick him up and drag him around. So it was like a hidden Easter egg. So they did put a lot of love and attention and care into it. It's just the monetization of it's my issue, not the actual pet itself.
No, and I actually disagree with you. I mean, I understand that it takes time, but I like the little ending screen. That was like my favorite part of the
Well,
pet.
I just
I
wish
was
you
like,
could,
oh, look at this, it's different.
but after a while, like after like the 50th, like I would just be able to skip it. I like the option to be able to skip it. That's all. I think it's cool that it's there, but it'd be. I've asked like, can we just put a feature in that I can skip this? That would be nice because it does slow your game down a little bit. But yeah, it's cool. I think overall it's a good thing. So.
All right, Pilot, you got any final thoughts?
No, I mean, it's like I said, I'm generally a very positive, optimistic person. I think it's the music teacher in me, because if I wasn't, then I'd just be miserable on a daily basis, focusing on the weird sounds that were happening instead of the good ones. But I'm still, like Tito said, I'm still playing the game. I've kind of gotten reinvigorated and re-engaged after disengaging for a couple weeks, partly because I was busy, but I just needed some time away from Death Knight, basically. And I mentioned to Tito yesterday, I'm interested to see how much the Masters Tour shakes up some of the meta. Other than Rogue being super prevalent, there's a lot of other decks that I don't think people are expecting. I'm hoping some people just try that out and get some variety and find something to inject into the game for people to focus on until we can finally get something positive and some good news from outside sources.
I recommend the Nebula Shaman, by the way. That deck's really sweet.
It's really fun. I've been playing that one.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. And I do think Hearthstone, this patch cycle's in a better spot than before. I've just been really, really enjoying Arena. Like, I've been playing off stream, so I've been very addicted to it, which means I'm enjoying Hearthstone. Just, standard is not my complete cup of tea right now. But again, I feel like it's been a lot worse. It's just kind of boring to an extent, I guess.
And just to wrap up, Pilot, do you remember what my answer to you when you said the meta? Hopefully, the Masters Tour playoffs would shape up the meta.
I don't.
As I would said, I can't wait to see more 2/5 custom enforcers now.
Yeah, so one person had that with like Raiding Party. They would draw the custom enforcer with their rogue deck, and then it was a lot in Paladin too.
Yeah, it was World 8 with the full aggro lineup.
That's funny.
And it was the right call. It was a great call against other rogues.
He should have got through too. He just got so freaking unlucky. But I thought his lineup made perfect sense. But just somehow didn't work out because Doomsayer. Goddamn.
All right, so Zeddy, we have our typical question for you this week. What is your favorite Lego set?
Favorite one? Oh, I love Rivendell. The Rivendell set is so awesome. It's just this majestic Lord of the Rings set. You get all the whole fellowship with it. There's Easter eggs, and I could look at it right now. It's really like that one. And I also just like the Nintendo sets. I see you have one behind you. The Mario one's sick.
I
and
do. Got the Mario Kart,
the Mario Kart too. Those are awesome. But yeah, Rivendell really stands out to me as one I love. And but I have way too many, and I've spent way too much money on them. It's crazy. On plastic toys. My God. 40-year-old man, by the way.
I mean, it could be worse. You could be spending your money on virtual cards.
But I do that too. I do all the terrible things.
But you stayed away from NFTs, so we're good.
You're never touching that.
So if you would like to support our show, you can do so by joining our Patreon over at patreon.com/breadandbutterhs. That's N, the letter. You get access to early roll audio, a special channel for the members Discord, and you get to help shape our future questions. You'll know when we have guests on, and you can tell us if there's questions you wanted to ask, or if there are topics you have ideas for. We listen to you. So come on over. And if you would like a non-financial way to help us, just let people know about the show. The more people know, the more people listen. And when we have awesome guests on like Zeddy, the more people get to hear him. He's spending his time with us, and we like more people to hear him. So help us out. And the other way you can help us out is leave a review. It really helps. It's there's only so many Hearthstone podcasts out there. Let them know you like this one. Zeddy, where can people find you on social media?
Got my Twitter at Zeddy Hearthstone, where I mostly meme or just complain about whatever. And Zeddy Hearthstone on YouTube, where we just recently hit 100,000 subscribers, and we did a brand cosplay, which was pretty fun, where we upload daily videos, mostly news related, but sometimes some gameplay stuff. Like last gameplay video I did was Nebula Shaman, which was really fun. And I stream over at twitch.tv/Zeddy Monday through Friday, except for today, because yesterday was long, and I'm like, let's take it easy. Plus, I didn't want to screw you guys over. I'm like, let's be flexible. I've already moved things enough around on you guys. I want to be nice and open. And yeah, I've been streaming a lot of Arena there lately, but I gotta get my Legends done this week, so I'm gonna finally play some ladder. My chat's been after me for it, so that should be fun as well.
Pylet, what about you? Where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter, Pylet712, Pylat. And you can also find me on Discord at the same handle.
And you can find me on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Discord, and anywhere else you want to find me at Tito Santana HS. Zeddy, do you have anything you'd like to promote or anybody you'd like to shout out this week?
Not particularly. I don't know. I'll just congratulate again those guys that qualified for the summer championship. I can't imagine the amount of hours and time you put into grinding that, and there's like so little payoff for it for the most part, unless you get all the way to the end. So I just kind of admire the grind set for it helps keep the community invested and makes things interesting. So shout those guys out, because I can't imagine grinding that much. It's crazy.
How about yourself, Pylet?
Gonna shout out Not Bambity. Played against them in THL this past weekend. Had a really, really fun, really close 2-3 series with some really, really good games. I felt like I played well enough to win, and it was nice. We were chatting a little bit afterwards, and he called it out as well about I was playing the Pain aggro DH into Alonius Druid, which is not a good matchup, and he's just like, you did everything correct. You played that as well as you could have, and he just found enough stuff. And then also give a shout out and a story to go with it to all the cat owners. I meant to talk about this earlier, but you'll understand my confusion and fun with this story of I took my cat to the vet the other week, and I have to take in, like the stool sample to them for the check and everything. I was going into town to do that like the next day, so I got that all set up. I don't know where that's at anymore, because one of the cats decided it was a toy. So to all the other cat parents who have to deal with finding weird things in different places, I've had to track down my microphone covers in the past week. Good luck, and I feel your pain.
And I'm going to shout out our patrons, Joltik and Torby Flenderson. We have other patrons, but those are the ones that are helping us along. And especially shout out, we've already mentioned World 8 several times, but World 8, it was so great to watch you do so well yesterday, and I hope you keep on it. And I think you'll be at a Master Store before you're done. I think we're toast. We'll see ya.
See ya.
Slide two brothers meet one another when they slide up to the mic. It's bread and butter with one another. Let's start up that recording light.